A big welcome back to the channel. Today we're at the Cherry Blossom Parade and Festival in Washington, D.C. It is one of the biggest draws to Washington. Thousands of people not just come locally, but from all over the region, the United States and the world in order to take a look and experience the Cherry Blossom Parade. And my job is to help you understand exactly what you can expect, what to do, what not to do, and how to have a great time. It's a fun family event. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. There is a lot to see, do, and unpack, so let's get started. The first thing to understand about the Cherry Blossom Parade is that it is absolutely free. It's relatively easy to get to. There's usually no magnetometers or any problems getting down to the fair. And what you're looking at right now is the start of the parade. The parade, in my opinion, is the quintessential event for the whole entire Cherry Blossom Festival. You see a lot of marching bands. The American flag usually starts it out, and it is all along Pennsylvania Avenue. And it is not just floats. You're going to see floats in a little bit, but there are horses, there are dogs, there are people who are doing jumping jacks. It's a big mash of things that are happening, and I'm going to walk you through everything that happens here so that you know exactly what to expect. Now, if you were to think that the Cherry Blossom Parade and Festival is a lot of marching bands, you'll be partially right. Marching bands, you're going to see that more than any other performance. However, there are a lot of variety of different events, and this is just one of them. This is one of my favorites right here. This is the cheerleaders for the Washington Wizards, and there's also a bandstand further down in the parade route where you can sit on a bleacher and enjoy the parade. But for the most part, most of the people who come to the Cherry Blossom Parade are going to be along the side of Pennsylvania Avenue. What you're looking at right now is one of several floats that are in the parade, but this is not a float heavy type of parade. If you ever see the Macy's Day Parade on Thanksgiving Day where there's tons of floats, there are quite a few floats here, but it's not a predominantly big part of the parade. There's lots more marching bands and other type of variety performances. Most of the people who are already watching know that I specialize in fun, interesting things to do in the DC metropolitan area. So if you're not familiar with my channel, please check it out. There are dozens of ideas of places you can go and things that you can do and see that are all within the DC metro area. Let's start off by talking about the basics, and that is getting there. And normally I would say when you're in the National Mall area, the best way to get around would be to use a bicycle or some other mode of transportation, because it'll save you a lot of energy and walking. However, if you're going to the Cherry Blossom Parade or even having to go to the festival, I strongly recommend that you walk. And the reason why is because the parade is not that far away. The best metro station that you want to get off at is going to be the Smithsonian Metro Station, and it's a short walk away, so you're not going to run into any problems there when it comes to getting overly exhausted. Also, the reason why I wouldn't encourage you to rent a bicycle or to some other type of transportation type equipment is because there are so many people on the National Mall. You're going to see a lot of pictures later of how packed the mall is. It's not necessarily conducive for a bicycle or for any type of mobility device. The best way you're going to be able to navigate your way around is to walk it. The Cherry Blossom Parade is always going to be held in the spring, and in the spring the weather in Washington is going to be pretty cool in the morning. It could be cold, and it's going to be fairly warms up in the afternoon as we get towards the midday. However, when the Cherry Blossom Parade is happening, it's usually pretty chilly. I'd recommend you bring layers of clothes. That way, as it gets warmer during the parade, when the sun comes out, you can take some of those layers off. Now, as far as what to bring, the most, and I do mean this, the most important thing you can do that will greatly enhance your ability to enjoy the parade is going to be a folding chair. The parade is all along Constitution Avenue, which is what you're looking at right now, and you see there are blocked it's all blocked off, so there's no cars that are coming. I recommend you bring a blanket like this person here so that you can sit down and just enjoy it from the side, because sometimes it's wet during the early morning hours. But it's all along Constitution Avenue, and if you sit down on that sidewalk, eventually you're going to get uncomfortable. You're not going to enjoy the parade as much. Absolutely bring a folding chair. You will not regret it. Now, you may regret having to walk around with that chair for the rest of the day. However, during the parade, if you're only going there for the parade, it's going to be a must. You just heard a marching band, but remember I said there's a variety of performances. There are performances from all over the world, and even the marching bands tend to be a little bit non-traditional, so take a listen to this right here. Not every performance in the parade is going to be some type of an acoustic, loud band or music type performances. Oftentimes, they're just people who are walking in the parade because they represent a particular group or organization or a particular cause that they're trying to promote. This parade is free to the public. Anybody can show up, and because of that, it's a very big expense to the DC government. And in order to offset some of those, some of the performances or some of the things that you'll see in the parade are going to be corporate sponsors. So you'll see a particular airline or a brand of deodorant or perfume or something, soft drinks or what have you. And this is just one of them right here. And so it really is a mix, and it all tries to be pink, centered around the cherry blossom theme. And it's good because you have these corporate sponsors that are oftentimes in between the band performances, so the musics don't drown each other out. Throughout this entire video, I'm going to break away and talk about the General Cherry Blossom Festival. And right now we're around a waterway within Washington, D.C. called the Tidal Basin. You can see how busy it gets. Now, oftentimes during the parade, all these activities are not going on. The parade is happening and there's no other performances. But just to give you an idea, the entire festival is a week long of events and different activities all throughout the DC metropolitan area. So you have to check the website because it changes every year as far as what you can expect. If you're considering visiting Washington, D.C. during the Cherry Blossom Parade or the Cherry Blossom Bloom, I can tell you that more people visit Washington during that time than almost any other time. That means the cost of the hotels and everything else is going to be sky high. Also, if you want to get into any of the museum, the Smithsonian has around 19 museums within its museum family, and pretty much those are going to be pretty packed because most of the people who are coming to the Cherry Blossom Parade don't just come for the Cherry Blossom Parade or festival. They're going to go to the museums and many other things in the area that Washington has to offer. So it really kicks off the summer high season in Washington, D.C., and the grounds of the nation capital are literally packed with tourists from all over the region and the world. A lot of people always ask about the performances, whether or not they're just local bands, and they're not. They're from high schools all over the United States, and some from different parts of the world come here to perform. The Cherry Mile Parade is on a 1 mile stretch on Constitution Avenue, and it lasts for several hours. And by the time you get done watching the parade, you're going to want to eat something and wondering what are the food choice options. And one of the best choices that you can make is going to be these food trucks. At first, you may think, well, it's not very it's not very clean, or have issues with eating from a food truck. But I can tell you the food they serve there is really top shelf food. You're not going to be, it's a huge variety first off, and you're generally going to be very pleasantly surprised at what you get. Also, there are other options too as well. On the National Mall, they have areas where you can eat. In my opinion, that's probably the worst food that you can get. Also, there are people who are vendors who are selling sodas and different snacks and different things like that. Those are options too as well. Those are probably going to be your more low-cost option. The food trucks, even though they're tasty, it's not necessarily inexpensive. You're looking at around $20, $25 for a meal. One of the challenges I have with going to the Cherry Blossom Parade, and it happens every single year without failing, it may be just my bad luck, but I always encounter people who have no respect for the barriers. They will not stay behind the line, and they simply just walk in front of you and stay there for the entire parade. And it's the most frustrating thing, because you've been there all morning, and they just happen to show up and just walk right in front of you. And that's an unfortunate thing. They don't really have a lot of crowd control, and I'll show you more about that later, but it is the worst thing. Now, if you are coming to the Cherry Blossom Parade and thinking about bringing your pets, I see people do this. I don't know if I recommend it. Dogs tend to get a little bit antsy when it comes to the bands making loud noises or what have you. But if you really want to bring your pet, it's not a bad option. People do it every single year, and it's not a problem. So that's one of the good things about coming here. After being at the parade for a while, you're going to drink juice, because people come by and sell you water and other things like that. Eventually, you're going to want to use the bathroom. And if you don't like porta potties or porta johns, you're going to be out of luck, because there are no public restrooms except for those plastic standalone porta johns. And they are as pleasant as you would expect them to be on the inside. So if you really want to avoid the porta johns, definitely use it before you leave your house, because these are your only option, or leaving the parade and going into one of the museums, which could take quite a while. During the cherry blossom time period in Washington, D.C., the number of people that are around and in the National Mall area are going to be off the chart. You're looking at some crowds here that are here doing the Cherry Blossom Festival. However, when you think about the number of people that come for the parade, I don't know if it's because it starts early in the morning, it's not that many people around. It's a 1-mile+ long stretch on Constitution Avenue. And if you just walk along Constitution Avenue, which is what I'm doing right now, during the parade, you can see that there's not that many people around. Just walk away from the Smithsonian Metro down Constitution Avenue, and you'll find plenty of areas that don't have a tremendous amount of people. Now, when it comes to safety and security, you're only as safe as you are vigilant, and there are police officers all around. Just be mindful that you are in the National Mall area, so there's going to be a strong police presence wherever you are. Now, as far as whether or not this is right for kids and families, it absolutely is. The biggest downside is the parade usually starts pretty early, so it makes for an early start to your day. Overall, I have and usually always have a great time at the parade. However, there's a reoccurring problem that you should probably know about. The parade is, in my opinion, sometimes very unorganized and very disjointed. It starts out with a lot of marching bands, and then there's huge gaps within the parade for apparently no reason. Later on in this video, you're going to see me walking, and you're going to see no activity at all. And you're thinking, the parade has ended because there's no more performances. However, if you just stay with it for a couple of minutes, and this happens periodically throughout the entire day, you'll see or hear music way far in the distance, and they are, for whatever reason, completely disjointed. Take a look at this act right here, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Now, this is me looking the other direction, all the way down the parade route. The parade is still going on. There are people in the roadway, like they're having a party. The road is shut down, and if you turn around the camera, you'll see there's that performance you just saw, and then later on, here comes another performance, and it happens throughout the entire parade. It's a complete mess. The worst thing about the parade, but overall, it's a great time for kids and families.